And then, here we go.
There we go.
Thank you. Here. Oh, there we go.
Here.
Great. Now that a quorum has been established, I'd welcome a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Move to adopt.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And
Second.
a second? And now, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, great. Let's move on to our general public comments for items 1 through 21. This is the time for any member of the audience to discuss items currently not on today's agenda. We have one speaker request form from Charmaine Whiteface. Ms. Whiteface, will you step up to the podium, please?
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, you
Thank
have
you.
3 minutes to speak to us.
Speak. All right. I just read in the paper the other day about the mayor is bringing a resolution to you and his letter to you, and I saw him on the news about declaring support for the relocation and construction of a new Indian Health Service hospital in Rapid City. And I am against this, and I'm asking you to not approve this today. And the reasons, there's many reasons, but I will just give you a couple because I do have 3 minutes. First of all, the Susan Hospital was a tuberculosis sanitarium for many years, probably long before any of you were born. And over 50 years ago, when I was a teenager, is when the Rapid City Indian community got together and asked that when it was going to no longer be used as a tuberculosis sanitarium, that it be used as a general health hospital for the rest of the Native American community here. And they went to Washington, D.C. They had to get a special appropriations to do this. But none of the tribes that are named in the mayor's resolution were involved in that. They did not help us. They did not help us at all. I was a teenager, so I remember this, and I remember the elders who did this, and so that's partly why I came today, because now I'm an elder, and I feel a responsibility to do this. So 50 years from now, the Susan Hospital will still be where it is, and the people will still be really receiving services. But what has happened is that the tribes didn't help us then, and their reason was they have no jurisdiction outside of their reservation boundaries, which is true. And so we are wondering how they have they feel that they can do this when they have no legal authority. And using the Great Plains Tribal Chairman's Health Board as a conduit still does not give them any legal authority to do this without asking the Indian community even here in town. And so we are concerned because there has been no input from the Rapid City Indian community on this. We have never had any community meetings. I have attended a few little tiny meetings that were invitation only if you got the invitation, and it was over the email. And so one of our concerns is the tribes would not help us then, and if they want to contract health services, why don't they contract their own hospitals on their own reservations where they do have authority? Secondly, for the Rapid City community and all the businesses up here, since the tribes never have, don't have jurisdiction off the reservation, but they do have on, and they are considered a government, they cannot be sued. One of the meetings I attended, we were told that in 3 years, if they wish to drop this contract, they can. Well, they could drop it in a few months if they wished, because they are a sovereign government. They cannot be sued. They could have a contract written, but they still cannot be sued because they are a government. We are really concerned. The whole timeline to do this has already gone way over the time. But there needs to be more input from the Rapid City Indian community about this. There is no public consensus from the Indian community. None of us were ever asked, do we want the tribes to do this? And those of us that know the history say no, no. And so we think the mayor has overstepped his everything, public relations and everything, especially to the Indian community within Rapid City, by pushing forward this resolution to you, and we hope you would vote against it. If you really wanted to help the Indian community, then it would be great if somebody would fund a big community meeting. Now, when I say big community meeting, we used to be able to go up to the Mother Butler Center, and there would be 500 or 600 people. Now, those are the kind of Native Indian community meetings that I'm talking about. But since the diocese took over the management of the Mother Butler Center in St. Isaac Jogues, then they have raised the fees, and we can no longer afford it. And so if you wanted to help, that would be a way. But I would say I am against this resolution, and I'm sorry the mayor got pulled into it. It is way more complicated than he knows. As far as the historical designation of that, we tried that years ago. It cannot be, because when it was made into a hospital and the elevators were put in, it changed the historical portion of that hospital, and so it can't be no matter what.
All right, Mrs. Whitespace, thank you so much for bringing these points to our
Thank you.
attention, and we will relay them further. Thank you for coming to speak.
Thank you.
And this will also be at Monday night's City Council meeting at 6:30 if you would like to come and speak then as well. Okay? Thank you so much. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? All right. General public portion is now closed, and we're going to move to our consent items. Today's consent items on the agenda are items 1 through 21. Let's open this up to public comment. Is there anyone else that wants to speak? Okay, seeing none, we're going. Oops. What am I doing?
Madam Chair, I've chimed in, and it looks like Alderwoman Drury has chimed in.
Oh, okay. I can't see that.
No, it's
It's not up on there. Okay, who came in first? Closed comment. Thank you, Daryl. There we go. Thank you. Okay. All right, we're closing public comment, and we're moving on. Mr. Solomon, you have the floor.
Thank you. May I direct first just a quick question to our city attorney?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Joel, real quick on item 4. Excuse me. I guess I'm pulling item 4. I apologize.
Okay. All right. All right, so are we pulling any items off the...
I'm pulling item 4.
Okay, let's stay there, and then... Anyone else? Okay. All right, so let's approve the agenda with the exception of number 4. Motion?
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved to approve by Mrs. Drury, second by Mr. Laurenti. And we have a
All
motion?
in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, going to item number 4, Mr. Solomon. Now you have the floor.
All right. Direct a question to our city attorney, please.
Yes.
Joel, just to be clear, for our sake and for the public, this does not bind the city into any sort of agreements by making this resolution. This is more of a statement of support if we accept this. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct. I mean, the idea is that they're trying to decide the future of the Indian Health Facility in Rapid City, and that the mayor did this at the request of the Tribal Chairman's Board, Unified Health Board, and there's reasons for them to look at this. I think the concern was that Indian Health Service was just going to commit and start spending money at the Susan site, and that they wanted to make sure there was ample opportunity to look at alternatives and show that various entities within the community would be supportive of that. I've only been involved in the periphery of this, so I don't have all the details. Might be better to, if you want to have a larger discussion about it, delay it till Monday night where the mayor will be available to speak on it. And I think at this point, probably have somebody, probably be a good idea from somebody from the Tribal Chairman's Health Board show up and try to articulate what the thought process is a little bit in this situation.
Thank you. And I pulled this item for a couple of reasons. What I support, first of all, I guess I want to say I appreciate the feedback that we received today, and that tells me that there's obviously other issues at play. But what I do support about this is that we have quality health care for our Lakota people in our community. One thing I felt with IHS and hearing about the conditions of hospitals and various spots, it's very concerning to me. And one reason I support this is the fact that there could potentially be better access to care off of the interstate, better facilities. Hopefully we have, with great facilities, they can recruit good healthcare professionals to care for our brothers and sisters in the Native American community. And in that spirit, that's why I would support this. Obviously there are other issues maybe at play, but us as a council, what we are saying is, are we okay with this moving or having a location in this spot? And I certainly am okay with that, because I think for the community as a whole, it could be a win. And I am certainly in favor of better healthcare services through IHS. I mean, and that includes access to care. So as we move forward in whatever action we take today, if I show support, it is showing support that we have great and accessible health care for all. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Mrs. Drury, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I just appreciate Ms. Whitefate for coming forward today and speaking to us and giving us even more information on what's going on with this. And I so respect the aspect that everybody needs to be included in the process and how that all works. And I also support that there is definitely a need for better health care in the community. So with that, I am going to make a motion to send this to council without recommendation.
No. Yep.
Oh, sorry.
All right. All right.
And I yield.
Okay, perfect. And Mr. Laurenti, you have the floor.
I make a motion to send this item to council for Monday night without recommendation.
Second.
Motion to send to council without recommendation by Mr. Laurenti, second by Mrs. Drury. And Mr. Lewis, any feedback?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Make a motion to send this council to approve this item. Thank you. And my reason for doing so is I don't think there's any question as far as whether or not we want to approve it. Maybe further discussion, but I think this one, it's pretty vital. We show support for it. Thank you is the word I'm looking for. So this one, I think is just important to show support that we're going to do it, and so the approval will be better than without recommendation.
Okay, so we have a new motion to approve by Mr. Lewis, a second by Mr. Solomon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries, and we will continue this discussion on Monday. Okay. All right, with these items approved, let's move on to our non-consent items 22 and 23, and we're going to open that up to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak? Any speaker request forms? Okay. Public comment is now closed. Moving along to item number 22 under the Finance Department portion, we have a second reading and recommendation of Ordinance 6283, an ordinance regarding supplemental appropriation number 6 for 2018. I'd entertain a motion. Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Laurenti. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And finally, number 23, under Community Development, we have an introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6249, an ordinance amendment to allow accessory dwelling units, also known as ADUs, in residential districts. First reading was approved by the Planning Commission 4-3. Mrs. Drury, you have the floor.
I make a motion to send this to council without recommendation.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. No, motion to move it to send to council by Mrs. Drury, second by Mr. Lewis. I do believe Mr. Young said there's a presentation that is available online, and he will be providing that on Monday at our city council meeting.
Yes, so I just wanted to make sure in forwarding it to, without review and discussion here today, that staff has ample opportunity to make that presentation and recommendations at the city council meeting.
Absolutely, that shouldn't be an issue. Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any, okay, motion carries.
Move to adjourn.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will see you on Monday evening at 6:30. Thank you.